little flashes. So what we're doing is we're actually taking the bulbs out of this cube and using it with our firing system to create flashes within our fiber-filled clouds. The light that they emit has a really nice decay.
Should be good now.
Oh, we should be good now.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. So what we've talked about so far, team, are repeatable systems. Save yourself time, energy, and money. You either have a system for everything that you do, or you're simply winging it. Now, among the KPIs that we discussed was the average service ticket. When you control your average service ticket, you control your destiny. Now, what we're looking at is if you're trying to make up for the COVID revenue gap caused by 2020, here's what we need to look at. As far as targets are concerned, remember, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business, because numbers tell you what emotions will not. So let's say you want to reduce from 5 days to 4 days. Your goal now becomes $750 a day. That means your average service ticket is $125. Now, so many of you are not only hairdressers, but now you're homeschool teachers as well, and you're splitting your time, which means the time that you invest behind the chair needs to be leveraged as much as possible. So for many of you, a healthy enough income to live a life by design rather than settle for a life by default. Now, today we're going to be going through some other things as it pertains to how you retain your clients and the reasons that clients leave. But what we do know is one powerful way to ensure that you retain your clients and turn them into raving fans is to make sure that you are pre-booking them. So we know this, you check in with the guest, get a verbal and emotional confirmation. It's more than just a yes that might be followed by a last minute cancellation. Remember, people make decisions emotionally, then they justify them logically. You have to have a captive audience who do not remove their cape as you're talking about their future appointment. So it might be something to the effect of, Sarah, in order to maintain your hair, I'll need to see you in 5 weeks. Would you prefer the beginning or the end of the week? What's better? Giving them 2 choices at a time is very much like vanilla or chocolate. They get to choose that, followed by 2 choices of days. Great, Monday or Tuesday, what's better for you? Followed by AM or PM, would you prefer 10 or we can do 2 o'clock? And then finally, followed by the 2 choices of times. Now, the interesting thing about to make sure that you thank your guests, not for coming in, but thank them for their business. That's a statement on loyalty. Now, the last thing that we talked about in the last module was your rate per hour, team. This has never been so much more important. Your rate per hour, what you're generating. So easy way to figure that out. Now, remember, if you don't know your numbers, you don't know your business. So I would implore you to always look at your services and look at how you're really investing your time. So hypothetically, let's say you charge $100 for color and it takes you 90 minutes. If you take this and you divide that $100 by the 90 minutes, and it's always in minutes, what you get is a rate per minute of $1.11 per minute. And then you simply, here's the formula, multiply that times 60 in order to get what your rate per hour is. That means you're generating $67 an hour. And I want to emphasize this. This is really critically important because here at Amplify, we're all about empowering salon professionals to generate 6 figures or more a year. So I want you to understand that not all dollars are created equal. Dollars are usually relative to the amount of time it takes to generate those dollars. So take this, for instance. Let's say you charge $45 for a haircut and it takes you 45 minutes. Now, if we do the same formula and we divide $45 by the amount of minutes, what we get is obviously $1 a minute. And we multiply that times 60 and we're seeing the rate per hour is 60. Now, here's the thing. Remember we talked about all dollars not being equal? What if you were able to cut your haircut time down? Now, and this is we have something at Amplify called application through integrity. So what if you were able to reduce that amount of time, but still give that haircut? So take a look at this. That same haircut that you charge $45 for, if you were able to cut or shave 15 minutes off of it and do it in 30 minutes, and you take the same formula, dividing the dollars by the minutes, what you get is $1.50 per minute. Now, here's the difference. You are now generating $90 an hour rather than $60 an hour. And that is just as simple as reducing the amount of time. So here's where your technical skills and your business skills converge in order to support you in leveraging and playing this game better, bigger, and more powerful. Now, just as a recap, I would invite you to look at all of your services and use this formula. List the prices for all the services, divide the price by the service, by the minutes it takes to actually perform the service, and then multiply that times 60. There you have your rate per hour. So now that we've looked at all of those KPIs, one of the pieces that we need to discuss is the importance of leveraging the relationships that you have with clients. So I want you to write this down. This is called the speed of trust. 3, thank you. Stephen Covey notes that the higher the level of trust that you develop with your guests, the quicker the transfer of trust and agreement. Simply said, how many of you want all of your guests to say yes to your recommendations? How many of you want your clients to be enthusiastic emotionally and verbally as it pertains to all the professional recommendations that you have? Well, this is important because trust comes in 2 different buckets. There's character and there's competence. Said simply, we judge ourselves by our intentions. Other people tend to judge us by our integrity. So today, when we look at the importance of leveraging trust, we're also going to introduce tools to support you in fostering more trust, because when you're able to do this and move clients into additional services that benefit them, it also benefits you, because we help ourselves by helping other people. And that team, the easiest way to approach that is what we call the spin. So when you're having conversations with your guests, and this is, for instance, the way that we do our consultations, be it virtual, which so many of you are doing virtual consultations, and I can't emphasize the importance of facilitating a virtual consultation when and if at all possible, because it really sets you up to win. But how do you go about doing it? Well, first thing, we have to do a check-in on the situation, followed by the problem, what impact the problem is having, and then it explores the need. How we do that with this particular consultation form is we focus on the areas where the guest might be dissatisfied, what challenges, what concerns, what issues they're having, in addition to the vision of what they really want, and then first steps by when they want it. So in other words, if you say to your guest, now let's talk about the condition of your hair on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being in the best condition, where is it now? And the guest says, well, it's a 3 or a 4. You might follow up with, okay, it's a 3 and 4. What do you want it to be and by when? The by when happens to be the first steps. Now, in a consultation, when a guest has covered all the areas where they're not currently satisfied, in addition to what they really want, say if they could rub a genie lamp or wave a magic wand, and then finally covered by when they want it, it's very hard for the guests to publicly disagree with themselves. Now, one of the things that we talk about is guests tend to support whatever you allow them to create and co-create. So if that's the case, why do guests leave? Now, if there's one thing that we've heard over the past 8 months is client count is down, not all guests are coming, and there are some extenuating circumstances that might be contributing to that. However, what we want to explore are the top 3 reasons a guest might leave. So people say knowledge is power. I would counter that and say knowledge isn't power, it's the application of knowledge. Nonetheless, it's really important to really understand and study our customers. So why do customers leave? This is taken from a study done across 10,000 businesses, and I want you to pay attention. When we look at this, well, we know 1% pass away, 3% move away, and 5% change relationships, get married, etc. None of that is within your control, and you can't influence any of that. However, take a look at this. Interesting that 9% of your guests don't come back because they try a competitor. Ask yourself this question: can you control that? Can you potentially influence that? 14% do not return because they're dissatisfied with the service they received. And a whopping 68% of guests do not return because they do not feel listened to. Now, I love what Steve Jobs says. You have to start with the customer experience and then work backwards to the technology, not the other way around. So how good are you at listening to your guest? Now, I'm not talking about hearing. Hearing is involuntary. So, and you make a loud noise, you startle that infant, or anybody would be startled by an unexpected loud noise. That's hearing. Listening is proactive. In other words, a doctor can test your hearing. The only people that can test your listening are the people that you're in communication with. Now, team, how important is communication? Ask yourself this: how many times have you heard, I wish I had more volume? How many times have you heard, oh, my hair won't grow, or I want more fullness, or, I'm experiencing some breakage around my face? Now, I want you to consider that anytime you hear something like this, it's not only an opportunity, but more importantly, it's a cry for help. The thing is, creating the safe space that allows your guest to truly tell you what is a challenge or a concern, impact, and need. The most important aspect of this is getting the guests to be transparent and safe enough to express the areas where they are dissatisfied. However, with every opportunity comes an obligation. So one thing is, what are you listening for? And I have to say this, let's go back to scene one. Team, being listened to feels so much like being loved that most people will never know the difference. So one piece is listening. Listening for what's being said, in addition to listening for what is not said so you can really get the full picture. Also consider that people speak with their body language as well. So what are you looking out for? What are you looking out for? So I want you to ask yourself this question, scene 3. How many times do you have guests who come in with pictures of magazines? It could be a model, it could be an actress. Well, what do all these women have in common? They're not only wearing additional hair, but they also happen to be wearing Amplify or Easy Hair Pro. So whether it is for length or volume or even chemical-free color, I want you to ask yourself this question: what do your customers really buy? And here's what they buy: solutions to problems and good feelings. So today we're going to be doing some transformations. And the question that I invite you to ask yourself, excuse me, I'm gonna grab some coffee, is what solutions are you offering your guest? Is it more than just product and shampoo? Anybody purchasing any of these products is looking for a solution. Anyone purchasing these products wants more volume, or they're looking to repair, or they're looking to conserve their color. So some of this is really just about, again, paying attention. One is listening for what the guest is saying. The other is looking for their purchase patterns and being able to, if you will, decode this. If you look at Redken, high-rise volume, thickening lotion, full frame volumizing mousse, look at any of them. It's about making sure that the color is protected, or in some cases, so we can't state this enough, your existing guests who purchase products for volume are seeking solutions. There's someone who is our director of products and programs. Now, the person I'm going to introduce you to, although this was only $65, I want you to consider that their average service ticket, we've been talking a lot about average service ticket, their average service ticket was over $389. Now, how many of you think that you can learn something from somebody like this, right? Now, in the last module, we talked about it's not your haircut price or your color price. It's really, again, your average service ticket. So if someone has an average service ticket of $389 off a $65 haircut, how many of you think that they're doing a lot more than just cuts and colors? They're doing multiple services. So I want to introduce our Director of Products and Programs. Put your hands together for the one and only Ms. Angie Gilmore. Let's go to scene 8, please. Thank you very much.
Hey, everyone. Okay. Can everyone hear? I just turned on my mic. We're good? Thumbs up. Fantastic.
Let's go to scene 8, if we could.
Okay. I am so excited to be here. Talk about Amplify Your Life. This entire system has really allowed myself to amplify my life, the clients that I serve to amplify theirs and the way that they look, more importantly, the way that they feel about themselves. And I'm really excited because everything that I'm about to show you and transform is everything that you can really replicate behind your own chair and in your own business. So with that said,
all right,
let's transform. So we have 2 models here today. They're both gorgeous. Now we're going for 2 different looks. So hair, she's been wearing it for several weeks now. And we started with what we call a mini volume. The other one has never worn hair before. And I'm really excited because I just did the consultation and I really got to know her and learned a lot about her. So what we're going to do first is start with a reapplication. So we're going to have that mini volume. Her name is Jamie. Jamie, come on down.
All right. Dun, dun.
Okay. So this is Jamie. Now, Jamie has been wearing a mini volume. And what a mini volume does or is there's 2 sandwiches on either side of the head. So really, she's just wearing less than 1 box of hair. And what I love about this is literally the #1 service that you can possibly offer behind the chair. It allows you to give that really beautiful, bright pop of color, be it blonde, a face framing highlight, or anything like that. It's also a great way to add more fullness, or in this case, to enhance her haircut. And really, we did all of those things. So she really wanted to fill in the thinner, finer hair right around her face. We wanted to add or enhance that beautiful, bright, blonde pop of color, and then also enhance her styling ability. Because when clients are having to flat iron and fill it in, they tend to take that flat iron and really try to straighten it out, thinking that the more they use that flat iron, the more it's going to fill it in. And so finally, Jamie was able to achieve this. So what we're going to do is first show you exactly how fast, quick, easy it is to remove these panels and put them right back in. So.
Okay, good. A lot of you might be asking how you find ideal hair extension clients, and so much of our education is about looking at your non-hair extension guest and then determining for 1 of 5 different reasons which one of them are volume clients. People, the product, and the process. So as far as product is concerned, we have 20 different shades and colors, a lot of rooted, a lot of ombres, dual blends, tri-blends, and we have 3 different lengths. So 14, 18, and 22 inch. Now, Angie, I noticed that you have something in your hands. Could you explain exactly?
Yes. Okay. So I'm getting my station set up over here. All right, so what I have in my hands right now is a placement board. So this is really designed to help you stay organized as you do your removal, retape, and reapplication. So for any of you that have been doing hair extensions, like me for so many years, I didn't have a tool like this. And what I would do is I would take my towel, lay it out on my station, do the removal, and I would try to keep them organized on my tray or my station on that towel. But God forbid someone walks by, like the towel grabs the corner of their pants and the towel goes flying along with all of the hair on that towel. And then you would have to pick it up and reorganize it and try to really replicate how it looked on the head. And inevitably what you have to do is cut more because it just doesn't quite match up. So really what we've designed is a placement board to help keep you really organized. So the same look that you remove, place on the placement board, and then put back in is consistent with every single reamplification every single time. So I'm really excited to use this and show you exactly how quick and easy it is. And I also have, this is Breakup. This is Breakup Panel Remover. And I really love this solution because it makes it fast, it's quick, it's easy, and more importantly, it's clean. So many of you, I'm sure, are familiar with other tape-in systems that leave your hands and the hair really sticky and messy, and it's just a nightmare. And quite honestly, it's one of the most complained about aspects of a tape-in service. And why I'm really excited to show you the combination of these two tools is because it really makes it faster, easier, cleaner, repeatable, and you actually enjoy it rather than dreading the reamplification. Okay. So I'm going to get started.
This is the philosophy of easyology. Earlier, we talked about the importance of having a system for everything. Save yourself time, energy, and money. So some of the tools and resources that we tend to provide are specifically to support you in. I want to highlight something. If we could go to scene 8. So 4 major looks. Partial and full volume, partial and full length. But then we also have something called the mini volume. More on that here in a moment. But the interesting thing, can you imagine being able to do an add-on for your guests without having to add any additional time? Can you imagine being able to increase your average service ticket by $100 to $150 inside of 5 without adding any extra guests? More on that here in a moment. Let's go to scene 1.
All right, so before I start removing her hair, I just clipped everything up so you can really clearly see everything that I'm talking about. So what I'm going to be doing is removing these 2 panels here, and they're placed in what we refer to as a stair-stepping pattern. And this is really specific to Amplify's application process. So we're stair-stepping towards the face to really maximize all that fullness, the volume, the coverage, and the color right around her face where she wants it and needs it most. So I wanted to show you that. And also you can see where it's falling, that it's really filling in right here around the face. You can see that bright pop of color. But I'm going to take this away and show you exactly what it adds. So right around her face, I mean, this is typical. I'm wearing the same thing for this reason, to fill in right around my face, as many of our clients like to do as well. So you can see that transformation. So what I'm going to be doing is using the Breakup, and I'm going to be spraying it directly down into the panel. Now, what I love about this bottle also is we're hairdressers and we're used to like having so many different things in our hands. So we're going to have clips, we're going to have a comb, we're going to have this bottle in our hands. And what I love about this bottle is that you can actually hook it onto your hand or your thumb, so you can really palm that as you're working, which also helps it go really, really quick. So I'm going to take this, spray it right down in between those panels, and then simply walk that panel off. It's that quick and easy. So I'm gonna hold on to this, but I'm gonna lay my panel down face up onto my placement board exactly where I removed it from her head. I'm gonna spray it again.
Now, this is the beautiful thing about a process like this. How many of you have used tape-in hair extensions before and you like the speed and the efficiency of it? However, what you dread, let's be honest, is the removal. The removal, the retape, and the reapplication. So I want you to pay attention to how quick and how easy this is. in addition to the emphasis placed upon a clean and easy application.
Okay, so I'm taking this natural shed, which she's familiar with. It's something that we talk about. We never hide it in our process, and because of the way our product's designed. This is the safest, thinnest, most flexible, most comfortable panel, and not to mention it's safe for her hair. So because the hair has been trapped between those panels over the course of 6 weeks, what I'm doing is I'm spraying that on, removing the tape, but there's a little residue imprint of the tape left behind, along with the accumulation of natural shed. So as I use the breakup and I comb that out, what you're going to see is that accumulation. So what I'm doing now is just lifting up my towel, placing it in my towel, and working it off my comb. That way my hands are very clean, the comb is really clean, everything stays really clean and nice and organized and tidy. And not to mention, this section is literally squeaky clean, and it was a breeze to remove, which I love, because what we're going to be doing is doing another application right after this. Now, this is what's really unique about this product and our system, is that it leaves the hair ready for that reamplification or a brand new fresh application without the need to shampoo, clarify, and blow dry, which is pretty incredible because Lance mentioned it earlier, time is money. And if you don't have to shampoo, clarify, blow dry, and waste that 30 to an hour behind the chair prepping her hair, talk about a win. So I'm gonna do this next panel. Now, all I'm doing is just spraying, working this panel off. Spraying again. Lifting it up and over. It's really comfortable for her. Now I'm placing the two sticky sides together and then placing them directly on my placement board, just like this. So how they are on her head is exactly how I place them onto the placement board. So I know exactly what I'm doing, where I'm going when I get into my reapplication.
Some of you may not be familiar with Amplify as a brand. It's powered by Easy Hair Pro. We actually invented the tape-in hair extension method. However, if we can go to scene 8, you might be familiar with some of our other brands. We actively manage a handful of brands, some of which I'll share with you here. Habit, so if you're familiar with Hair by Chrissy, Vamore, Easy Hair Pro, Blondin, Masters of Balayage, and Amplify. Now, the great thing about Amplify is the packaging, the ethos, the vibe of Amplify. It's fun, it's young, there's great colors. I want you to pay attention to something. Let's go to scene 1. Typically, when you see hair extensions, they come in a cheap cellophane plastic bag. What you'll notice with Amplify is what we call smart packaging, if you take a look at that. What does that look like? It looks like a hair color box. The great thing is at the bottom of the box, on one side, what you'll have is the actual level of the hair. By the way, we're one of the few manufacturers that don't use wig colors. Does anybody know what a 613 is? Most people don't. It's a blonde color. However, let me ask you this. Do you know what a 9N, 12N is? Because that's what this is. So the neat thing is this is called Night Owl, and it says 9N, 12N, and then it says 18 to 20 inch tape-in. It also comes in hand-tied as well. So the great thing is it's mindful packaging. We know space is incredibly important when it comes to stocking the things that you need in your salon or in your suite. This makes it really fun. It makes it really easy, and it makes it very efficient. Now, I notice over here that Jamie has also filled out our Amplify consultation form.
Yes.
Now, you can't see this, but what I'll do is if we can go to scene 8, I'll put this on the screen. She has checked off her desired style is trendy and natural. Her hair goals are a subtle change once a year. And then time spent styling at home is less than 15 minutes. She occasionally wears her hair different on the weekends. She blow dries with a round brush. She's comfortable with styling her hair, but open to some tips. Scalp sensitivity, somewhat sensitive, sometimes hurts when detangling. No medications, that's important. And she's currently wearing hair extensions now. So, and we know this. Here's what we don't know, but we do know now, is she currently has 16 to 22 good hair days per month. And what she's most challenged with is adding fullness and enhancing volume. She rates the volume of her hair on a scale of 1 to 10 of 5, and she wants it to be an 8 as soon as possible. Last question on this side. What is perfect hair for you? Describe how it would look, act, and feel. Thick, blonde, bob. So Jamie, when you look in the mirror, do you see thick, blonde bob with a volume at 8 typically?
No.
No.
I do not.
So we're going to change that. We're going to amplify that. All right, take it away.
Okay, cool. So all of her hair is out. Now, the beautiful thing about this is you can literally run your hands through her hair. It's clean. There's no stickiness left behind whatsoever. And now it's ready for either a re-amplification or a fresh new application. Now, she's been wearing this hair for, gosh, almost 6 months now. And in doing the consultation, what I learned about her is she likes it right around her face. And now that she's had time to wear it, she's used to it. And typical client, she wants more. So she wants more hair and she wants that look all over. So she wants that bright, beautiful pop of blonde that she had right around her face. She wants it all throughout her hair because she liked how it enhanced her haircut. It gave her that nice weight without being too heavy, but it really helped to fill it in. And so we're going to take that and we're just going to transition that all the way to the back. So really what we're doing now, Lance, I don't know if you mentioned it earlier, but we call this the ultimate add-on. Mm-hmm. Now, the thing is she's had these 2 panels on either side and she's used to it. She's gotten comfortable and really confident in her styling ability. But because of that, now, if she wanted to just add it on without completely changing everything, I could just connect that. But because it's time for some new hair, she wants to add a really bright, bold pop of blonde. We're going to mix it up and do a fresh new amplification. So what I'm going to do is switch out this placement board and get ready for her what we call a full volume transformation. So we're taking her from a mini volume into a full volume. And what that means is it's actually 2 boxes of hair. So I'm going to be combining 2 different colors. It is a 12G with an 8N 10N. So I'm using that 8N 10N to really mimic what she has in her hair already. It's that dimensional color. It's that highlight and low light. And then I'm adding that really beautiful pop of blonde with a 12G. Now, you don't see that in her hair, but the beautiful thing is you can enhance whatever color you want so long as you're creating that blend in the hair. And what I love about our education, it shows you exactly how to do that. Since coloring or chemical-free coloring is one of our favorite things, thank you. At Amplify, we definitely cover that in the education. Yes. So what I've already done is I've already mapped it out. So on top, I had the 12G. So you're noticing that really bright pop of blonde. But when you flip it over, you can also, it might be hard to see on camera, but you can see that dimensional color. So what I'm going to be doing is applying this and mimicking the color that it is I want to see. Now, this is systematic, right? Lance told you earlier, it's saving yourself time, energy, and money. So you get to play with color. You get to get messy on this placement board. You get to really flip-flop those panels and have fun with it. Because of this system and the way that it's structured, it actually gives you total creative freedom. And it saves you time because you get to get the yuck out, get the mess out, have fun, and play around with what you want to do on the placement board rather than doing it on the hair and having to remove or flip-flop panels because you don't like what you see. The benefit of this placement board is not only it's designed to really be that removal reamplification tool, this is really a planning and placement tool so that I can see exactly what I'm doing and where I'm going before I get into it. And that's what makes our application time so incredibly fast because you've already designed it here. So
it's a great presentation tool as well. So you get to show your guests exactly how it's going to look. It's a wonderful presentation tool. If we could go to scene 3, what I'd like to do is break down some of these looks. So what you'll see here is you'll see this category divided into volume and length. The elephant in the room is this. The majority of your financial growth, believe it or not, is going to come from volume services. It requires less product, it takes less time, and it's less of a commitment for the guest. So if you can look up here, you see micro volume starting at $100. It takes 5 minutes. A mini volume, and then a partial volume, which is what Jamie came in wearing. Choose the scene, but here's what I want you to look at. Everything that you buy in order to sell to your guests, you will buy one time, you will use one time, which means that you will charge one time. Here's the difference. With Amplify tape-in hair extensions, the investment, I hear someone's stomach growling. You'll make the investment and then you'll actually sell this product 3 to 4 times. Take a look at this. $300, 15 minutes. Now, if you go all the way to the right side of your screen, the reapplication, that's $150. You're using the same product. When they come in the second time, that's another $150. And if they choose to do another reapplication, that's another $150. So I want you to consider that one box of hair that was less than $100 generated a minimum of $600 to $750. That's just the partial volume. Now, when it comes to mini and micro volumes, this happens because we systematically plan out the look ahead of time. The neat thing is we know that the shapes of heads are different and sometimes you'll have leftover hair. This is fantastic. This is where the mini volume comes into play. So why mini volume and full volumes? Well, you don't need an additional appointment. It's the best and hottest add-on that our industry has seen. It increases guest retention with extension services, and it also increases retail sales and repeat salon visits. Let's go back to scene 1 and check in on Angie. All right. So walk us through what's going on here.
Okay, so what I'm doing is building the stairway on the sides first. Now, for many of you who have been working with hair extensions, you typically start in the back. Now, we're doing a volumizing look. However, regardless if you're doing volume or length, we always start on the sides, and that is what's definitely different about our application process. Because the thing is your client's looking in the mirror when you're doing this, and she wants to see what's happening. She wants to see that transformation instantaneously. Plus, that's really where you need the most volume and coverage. So I'm filling this in first in that stair-stepping pattern, and I'll pull these back right now so you can see everything that I've already applied. And it's only been, a couple minutes. So it's really, really fast. It's easy. And you can see how by starting on the stair, or what we call the stairway, you're able to really fill in this corner. And the corners are what really, really show that someone's wearing extensions, because often you create a disconnect because you typically section those sides out, pull the back, pull the sides forward, and you build all this, and then it's leaving this big, massive gap. What this does is it completely eliminates that gap, and so you have a really nice, beautiful coverage, because you can amplify, extend, provide more shape, chemical-free color, and coverage in this case. So what I'm going to do is take my last, I'm going to lift this up. Sorry, Lance, I started talking and I got sidetracked. Don't forget to make a sandwich. It takes 2 to tango. So I got to put this one on. I'll drop this down and I'll show you exactly where I'm going and what I'm doing with that next one, the highest, most forward to the face panel, which is what we call that free zone panel. So I'm going to drop this down, and I really want to check it out and see where I need to create or enhance more coverage around the face. So right here, right in this bang right here. So you can always look and see it's like an arrow pointing up right to where you need that fullness or volume or pop of color, whatever it might be. So right around her face, I'm going to take this panel. Now, you'll notice on all the other ones that I've done them really nice and horizontal, horizontal to the floor. So they're nice and straight. Now, a big misconception is that because people need to put it up, down, sideways, whatever, in order to style it and live their best life, typically people think that you need to angle all these panels, and that's completely different. And the reason is you're going to lose coverage. And we really go over this in our education. but you really lose coverage by angling panels. And so there's only 1 or 2 panels. It's that mini or micro volume where you angle right around the face. And that's only because the way in which the hair growth pattern changes and it falls towards the face. Everything else you want really laying at natural fall. That protects the integrity of the hair. You maximize the coverage, the fullness, the volume. But right here, because it's growing towards her face and we want to fill in this corner, I'm just going to angle it out.
Our tape-in hair extensions or even our hand-tied hair extensions. The interesting thing is whether it's hair extensions or it's color or it's anything, the success of any product and process is going to be predicated upon you being able to be first to market, better at market, or different. So what I'd like to do as Angie's finishing this look is just break down some fast facts for you, some things that actually make us a little bit different. So if we could please just go to scene 3. I'm gonna break this down. Okay, so 20 custom designed colors. These allow you to mix, match, create hundreds and hundreds of custom color combinations. You can also create beautiful chemical-free color for your guest in minutes. Nowadays, coming out of this health crisis, it's not uncommon for so many guests to just want to get in, get the result without having to be in the salon for hours at a time. So think about this, rather than balayage, what about balayage? A couple other things that actually make this process different. And you know, we mentioned that we had 3 different links, 14, 18, and 22. However, what I'd like to do is emphasize on the true length ratio of the longer hairs. There's natural taper for easy, seamless blending of multiple links. And this also reduces a lot of cutting and maximizes coverage. So you can actually get more coverage with less panels. When you do cut, keep in mind that when you are cutting hair extensions, your client share with you what is different. Panel construction. What's common on the market is the panel construction is typically how wide, Angie?
1.25 inches.
1.25 inches, sometimes 1.5 inches, but ours happen to be 2 inches. Now, here's the benefit. This is the thinnest durable planet on the panel, right? No, most durable panel on the market weighted to hair replacement standards. There's anti-shedding technology, and it's color shaded to minimize detection, in addition to the fact that there's a proprietary medical grade adhesive that makes the removal and There's one more thing, if we can cut to scene 1. The interesting thing about these panels is there's hair that comes out of the panels. This is our special proprietary nano panel. So it makes it thin, it performs really well. When you look at it up close, there's hair that comes out of the panel, and it's pretty exciting. There's a lot of you who recently received a rehearsal kit. You may have opened that box of hair, and if you look at the panel, you'll notice it is vastly and dramatically different than that of other panels on the market. So now Angie has done the stairway on one side.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're working on the other side.
Yep.
Update us on what's going on here.
Okay. So I'm just wrapping up the last panel of the stairways, which is essentially filling in the sides. So I'm going to drop this down. Once this is filled in, then and only then do you transition to the back. So I'm just going to drop this down, look at this fullness, the coverage, the color, the shape that we've really created in her hair. So
color looks amazing.
We're loving everything that we see. She also really wanted to see that bright, bold pop of blonde. Now you can see on my placement board that I've really filled in the sides here, and all that's left is the hair at the center. So something about the application process is now that I've done these stairways, all I need to do to really create that ultimate add-on is just connect those stairways. So I'm just going to do this by feeling, and this is what makes it so fast. So you're literally just connecting the dots. It's that simple. So I'm feeling for the very bottom, that first stairway panel that I applied on either side. I can't see what I'm doing. Then I'm just going to take my comb and create that nice, beautiful, clean section. Now, another reason that we're doing this is not to make it faster and easier for us as the hairdresser, this is also really designed to make it really easy for them. One of the biggest complaints when someone's wearing hair extensions and they go to wash or brush or style their hair is they can't get their fingers, or they run their hands through their hair and they run into panels. The reason that we're so systematic is because we want them to be able to get their fingers in between those rows and be able to really shampoo their hair and brush through it or section it up to clip it up and curl style or whatever it might be. It's really about the comfort for the client and the ease of wearing it. So that's another reason why we have these really beautiful, nice, clean sections. So what I'm going to do is just connect this row and then connect that, and then we'll be done. It's so fast.
Wow. So we quite often get questions about quality. And the interesting thing is it's such a loaded question because there's quality as it pertains to panel, quality as it pertains to hair, to color, to support, to product, process, people. I can share with you, if we can go to scene 8, is when it comes to different. Actually, let's blow that up a little bit. If we can go to scene 3, is we retain the cuticle on our hair. Now, the majority of manufacturers of companies, when they produce hair extensions, they strip all the cuticle because they're so concerned with making sure that hair doesn't tangle. If you have cuticle going in 2 different directions, what you get is inversion and you get tangling. What we prefer to do is keep the cuticle on the hair. That way, the hair looks and performs as good, if not better, than your biological hair. So what we have is Remy cuticle intact hair that is not coated with silicones or polymers like most brands. And it also provides the hairdresser and the consumer with more confidence in the reusability, knowing that the hair is still going to perform very well after multiple reapplications, because you want to be able to reuse this hair. Really important piece. Now, the other piece is the design. So we talked about the packaging designed to maximize appeal to salon professionals and also to the customer. Smart labeling indicates a salon level, the name of the color, as well as the length and a see-through window so you can actually view the hair inside. We've been talking a lot about the business aspect of this, increasing your service, retail, and pre-booking. We've only begun to scratch the surface. For those of you who have access to our online education, you're going to learn proven turnkey systems and tools to increase revenue in these 3 key areas, including rate per hour, and learn how to sell by the look versus pieces, panels, and less, and then drastically increase your sales and maximize profits. Now, keep in mind, application time will range from as simple as 5 minutes up to 55 minutes. There's a couple other things that are important to consider. The conversion consultation tools, the lookbook, it makes these things really simple and easy for hairdressers to have the conversation and convert your non-hair extension clients, which is where all your growth is, into wearing Amplify hair extensions. The placement board helps you map things out, design looks, and also makes it easier for you to remove and reapply. Now, there are 5 different methods of client conversion. So this allows you to grow through diversification. Remember, it's volume, length, coverage, shape, and chemical-free color. In our education, we show you how to identify each type of customer, and then furthermore, how to easily have that conversation. Let's cut back to scene 1 and do a check-in on our model here. Look at this.
Okay, I just have one more panel to apply and making my connection of that stairway. This is my last piece and filling in that corner, last piece of the puzzle. Now, as soon as I'm done with this, what I'm going to be doing is cutting and blending just to really enhance the shape. Remember, she's not going for length, even though we were able to achieve it. She just wants to really enhance and fill in the existing haircut that she has while adding that really beautiful bright pop of blonde. So I'm just going to add this last piece.
How's that feel, Jamie?
Feels good. It feels really light. I can't really feel it at all.
Good. Beauty should not be painful. unless it involves going to the gym or being waxed. Nonetheless, painful.
Okay, last piece. Let's drop it down. Check it out. Okay, I love it. So what we're going to do is do a quick little spin just to show you how it really, like if you wanted to keep going, right? So what we just did was what we refer to as a full volume transformation. We first built the stairways on either side, and then we just connected those stairways in 2 rows, connecting those 2 bottom stairways right here. Now, if we wanted to keep going, and let's say she saw this and was like, wait, don't cut it. I want length. I love this. And it happens all the time. Because of the way in which we've designed this application process, you can really easily add on. Again, it's the ultimate add-on. So all we would need to do is just really continue to work up to really maximize that fullness and coverage through the crown. And that's another thing that makes us really different about our application process. We really want to fill in right here. This is where we blend everything. And we refer to this as zone 1 and zone 2. Those are your power zones. And this is what you want to fill in. And then once all that's really achieved, then and only then do you really work down to maximize length. But we're not going for that. She doesn't want length. She just wants to enhance that volume. So now what I'm going to do is cut to blend her hair, and then she'll be out the door really, really quick.
Tremendous. Did you say power zone?
Power zone.
I thought that was just something that happened with Peloton. Right? Yeah. Urge you to do. And it's really just consider. If you do a mini volume, it's 2 pieces on each side of the head. It's going to add an additional $100 to your haircut or your color. It literally takes 2 minutes, and 90% of the guests are going to ask for, as Angie mentioned, more hair after only starting with 2 pieces. Now, as attractive as that is to you and to your guests, so much of this is about being aware that the guests that sit in your chair might not want hair extensions for one reason, which is length. Not everybody wants mermaid hair. However, when you look at the segmentation of how to amplify, extend, cover shape, add chemical-free color, you now have 5 different categories that you can put your guest into. And I want you to imagine any of the guests that you might be seeing today, tomorrow, anytime this week. Do they fit into those categories? And if so, which ones? So when it comes to, quite often as hairdressers, you are the leader in this consultation when it comes to facilitating the service, and the speed of the leader determines the pace of the pack. So quite often what you say can actually encourage and inspire the guests to move forward, or what you say and how you say it can actually dilute the entire process. I'll give you an example. These are called red light versus green light phrases, power phrases, or caution phrases. I don't know. You've most likely been told that if you don't know, then don't say anything. However, you could replace it with something a lot more powerful, which is I'll find out. Quite often when you say I don't know to the guests, it could occur as I don't care. Now, remember, 68% of clients do not return because of indifference or not feeling as if they are listened to. You're welcome. You could take a page from the Ritz-Carlton and say, my pleasure. You said, I heard. Calm down. We know that never works. I understand, or you're right. Never let your guests hear the words no. Even better, let me check on it. Yes, and then with a qualifier. You replace but with and. You replace how you're doing with good morning or afternoon. Fine with fabulous. Unfortunately. Now here's a pet peeve. You never have unfortunate news for a guest. Unfortunately, I'm booked that day. No, you worked your tail off to get booked that day. So it's not unfortunate. Instead, it's I'm booked that day. Fortunately, I have an opening the next day. Would you prefer morning or afternoon? And then you go right into the pre-booking script. Guests don't want to buy or pay. They do want to get or have. It's never the price or the cost. It's always the total or the investment. You never try, right? Because try lives on can't and won't street. You do, you can, you will. Now, Never say my name is when you're introducing yourself to a new guest unless you're Eminem.
What?
It's I'm. What?
My name is.
Sorry means lousy. Instead, use the word apologize. You never have to. Let me check. I have to check. No, I'd love to look into that. It's never a maybe. It's never a maybe. It's always a possibly. Everybody got that? So some go-to power phrases that we'll check in on here in a moment. Now let's cut back to scene 1 and do a check-in on Angie and our model. Where are we?
All right, we're done. Yeah, so we just cut to blend it. It's really quick. I just ran over it with a flat iron. So it's really, really fast, really easy. I'm just going to clean up the shape right around her face. And then we are good to go and get her pre-booked. So here she is. So what we were able to do is just really enhance that fullness right around her face. I'm going to turn her to the side so you can see how it's really helped to fill that in. You saw it earlier without the hair in, how it was really hollow right here in the front, right? So you can see how it's filled in. We've added all this color. You can see through her ends, and it's just barely peeking through about this much, where her ends tend to get a little finer, a little more tapered. So as we rotate around the back, what you can see is you can see all this blonde pop of color coming through. And essentially what we've done is we've created what we call a balayage. So we just balayaged all this color while also enhancing the fullness, the volume. So you can see how it's really helped to fill in right around her face. So it's going to enhance her styling capability. It's a lot easier for her. Something that she loves is it's a lot easier for her to style, and it's also going to hold that style a lot better. So we filled it in. This is how we amplify not only our time behind the chair. Instead of spending 2 hours doing her balayage, I can balayage it. We enhance that volume, the fullness, her haircut. Now, this is the one tool that you have in the salon that there's nothing else like it. So it allows me to work smarter, not harder. She gets what she wants, and she gets it now. That is how you amplify not only your life, but the lives of your clients. So,
yay.
Yeah.
Now, Jamie, you rated the volume of your hair a 5. You wanted it to be an 8 as soon as possible. So did we accomplish that today?
Yes, very much so.
Awesome. Give it up to Jamie. Thank you.
Okay.
All right. As we transition our next model in, what I'd like to go is full screen and talk about some go-to phrases. Communication is critical when it comes to moving your guests into a service that might benefit them. We believe in win-win-win situations here at Amplify. The guest needs to win, you need to win, everybody involved needs to win. So some go-to power phrases to move your guests into wearing hair extensions. You mentioned you wanted more fullness. Have you ever considered adding more hair? Or potentially earlier, you mentioned you wish you had more volume. So rate the volume of your hair on a scale of 1 to 10, with 10 being the fullest and thickest. What you're looking for is the admission of any kind of dissatisfaction, concerns, or challenges. Or you're concerned about breakage around your face, but you don't want to lose any more hair. Would you be interested in exploring some solutions? That's where you take the lookbook out, the consultation form. Earlier, you'd mentioned your hair just won't grow. So if you could wave a magic wand, show me where it would be and by when. Or the other phrase, which is, you're telling me you want to be brighter, but you're concerned about the damage. Would you like my professional recommendation? All of these are specifically designed to support you in moving the guests into additional services. All right, tremendous. Let's cut to scene 1. Who's our next model?
We have Nicole here. All right. Hi.
Everyone say hi to Nicole.
Hi, Nicole. All right. So let's get Nicole draped. So I just got a chance to really get to know Nicole through filling out and really going over the consultation with her. It's really nice because I've never done her hair before, and transparently, it's one of my favorite things about the consultation is it doesn't matter if it's a client that you've been doing for 20 years or someone who's sitting in your chair for the first time. It really allows you to have an authentic, really direct, and really intentional conversation about what it is that they really want to see in their hair in this visit today. So, Nicole, like just in talking about this, what did you like most about this consultation?
I felt like I was being listened to, which is hard to get across to a lot of stylists, and
Yeah.
they just want to go in and do what they want to do. So I feel like you actually listened to what I was saying, and I feel I trust you, and I'm so excited for this experience.
Good.
Awesome.
Yeah.
There's a speed of trust at work.
Yeah.
As she's getting, I just want everyone to get a peek of this, right?
Maybe go a little closer. So
Let's see. Can we see
I don't know
this?
if it'll focus.
Mm.
I
There we
have all
are.
my messy notes all over the written all over the place. I wrote a lot of stuff down.
Well, her desired style was
Learned a lot in this
natural.
conversation.
She has a major change in mind. Her desired style is natural. She typically spends 30 to 45 minutes styling at home, occasionally wearing her hair differently on the weekends. She blow dries with a brush and hot iron. She's comfortable styling her hair, needs tips. She's not sensitive, doesn't have a sensitive scalp. She's never worn hair extensions before.
Nope.
However, where she's concerned, her dissatisfaction, adding fullness, enhancing volume, creating length, her hair won't grow. She's bored. She wants to add moisture, corrective color. And she only has 8 to 10 good hair days per month.
We're about to change that.
So here we go. Let's look at this. One thing, perfect hair for you is thick, long, light, and blonde, and holds a style. You rated the volume a 4. You want it to be a 10.
Yes.
Okay, let's rock and roll, everybody. Take
Yeah.
it away.
Okay, so I've color matched Nicole. Now, color matching is really interesting because it doesn't always have to be to the exact color of your client's hair. And this is what I love. Like, you'll notice how on Jamie previously, I didn't do the exact same color that's in her hair. I went a little bit lighter, but as long as I'm in the same tonal and level family, right? And same with Nicole. So I've done a color match, but her goal is to really see a brighter, more bold pop of blonde. So if your client wants to see that, you're not going to add the exact same color. You're going to add what's not into her hair, so long as you know, as the creative person that you are, that it's going to blend. So what I'm doing here is she's more of, we have a color called 10G12G. It's called Daydreamer, I believe. So 10G12G is exactly what she has, but we want to go a little bit lighter and brighter. So what I've combined on the placement board is a 12G with a 12N. So what I'm doing is it's really going to allow me to add that brighter pop of blonde, that cool tone and that neutral tone by doing a 12N, 12G. But really it's going to enhance that color that's already in her hair as well, because she has those lighter pieces. So long as we're transitioning, it doesn't have to be exact. Now, all of you are colorists, or for the most part, you're familiar with color. And you know that in order to achieve the color, you can combine 2 different tubes of color in order to get what you want. Now, consider this, that here's one tube of color, I'm combining it with something else, and we're going to end up with a different result. So it's what you have, it's what you add, and then it's what you get. And so that's what we're going to be doing, is really enhancing her color while giving her more length and enhancing her styling capabilities, because something about Nicole is it doesn't hold a curl. And so at the end of this, we're going to show her exactly how easy it is and how long it's going to last her. So I'm going to get started. So Nicole, I'm going to have you take off your glasses. Perfect. Okay. Now, Nicole's never worn hair before, and in the conversation with her during the consultation, she really expressed that she wants to be able to put her hair up. She's concerned that she won't be able to style it or wear it the same way. And because of that, I really want to be mindful of where I apply these panels. And something about our application process is we call it application through integrity, ATI. So what I'm doing is really pulling this back so I can see her hairline. Just because it's a cookie cutter placement on the placement board doesn't mean your application will be. So it's always following the client's natural hairline, also the density and what they do and how they style, well, which is essentially their lifestyle. So I'm going to pull all this back. I'm going to do what we call the 2-finger rule, making sure that I am off of her hairline, that she can put it back, put it up, whatever she wants to do. Now I'm going to lift this up, clip it up. And at this point in the application, clients typically have their phones in their hand and they're looking down. Because these are nice and horizontal, you want to make sure that the client's head is up, at least when you're sectioning. So what I'm going to do now is start by my placement board. And the placement board is not face on. It's as you see their head as that stylist. So because I'm starting on her left side, I'm going to start on the left side of the board. I'm sectioning this, and I'm grabbing that very first stair step panel. Now, something that you can't see, and I'll show you when we're done, is you can see there's a pink stair stepping line on this placement board, which really shows you where that stairway is. So I'm going to start with that very first stairway panel on the bottom. Now, again, I'm using two different colors. So I have a 10G and a 12G. So because I want to see a lot more brightness and lightness coming through, I'm going to actually put the 12G on the top and the 12N on the bottom. And I've already mapped that out on the placement board, but I just wanted to let you know exactly what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So I'm sectioning this out. I'm going to have you turn just a bit. Can everyone see what I'm doing pretty clearly? Okay, because we can also zoom in a bit. For this application time, Lance mentioned earlier that it's anywhere from 5 minutes up to 55 minutes. Now, that's the timing when you're actually just getting started. So here's the deal. When you get into the rhythm and you get into the flow, like anything, you can actually cut that application time in half. So although we're doing a full length transformation, I'm probably going to be able to do this in about 15 to 20 minutes. But what Lance didn't mention earlier is that I've also done 30,000 applications. So practice makes what? Perfect. No, it doesn't make perfect. It just makes better. It makes faster. So the more you practice, the more you do, the better and faster that you will be. But if you're anything like me, far from perfect. Okay. So all I'm doing here is just doing that stairway. I'm lifting this up. Now, something about this application process I love, well, it's more so to the panel, is we apply that panel, the top panel first. And the reason that we do that is because this panel is designed to pick up the perfect amount of hair to support that panel. No more, no less. So counter to the under-over method, you actually don't have to determine how much hair that you need in between because the panel does all the thinking for you. So what I'm going to do is I'll break this down really quick and I'll show you that when you place that top panel on, you're really pressing firmly enough to pick up enough hair to support that panel. So I'm going to press this on. Also, the distance from the parting is something that we also touch on in ATI, or application through integrity. Because we want to make sure that the hair is safe during this process, we drop it down the height of the panel down from the parting. It's the perfect distance down from the parting because any closer is too close. It'll kick out, and that's what can lead to hair loss or hair damage. When you lift this up, it takes that perfect parting for you. So you just go in, you glide it through with your comb, lift it up, and then apply that bottom panel. So it takes that perfect section for you. I love it. The other thing is, you can really clearly see, because I've pressed it down so firmly, you can really clearly see that parting in the panel below. So now, there we go. It's already filling in. And this is my favorite part. So there's not necessarily a mirror right here or a big one that she can see, but she can look right here. She can see herself on the camera. And this is my favorite part of the entire service, because as soon as they see this, this is where they get excited. They get lit up. They can't wait to see it done. And this has happened in literally seconds. So I'm just going to do this last panel. Again, this is that highest, most forward to the face panel. So I'm just going to angle this one to really maximize that fullness and coverage and really fill in her haircut surrounding her face. Now, Nicole, you wanted to go a little bit lighter, a little bit brighter. Are you liking what you're seeing? Okay. Okay, good. So we really didn't do that color match, right? And some of you may be thinking, okay, she's going from a 10G up to a 12N. Now, it blends. It looks really good. It's matching her hair. It's picking up on those tones. It's blending. So this is exactly how you're able to add that chemical-free pop of color, commitment-free, without the damage and without all the time. Okay, so applying that 12N panel, pressing that down, locking it down, and now we've already filled in right around her face. It's so fast. It's so easy. She's able to see that length transformation already. So I'm just going to switch to the other side. There we go. Actually, Nicole, you don't have your glasses on. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay, I just saw your glasses right here. Okay, so again, just because you've done something one way on this side doesn't mean that you're going to do it the same. You always want to check and make sure that you're following that client's natural hairline because it's different from side to side. So taking that 2-finger rule, doing nice, clean, horizontal partings. So she really gets that maximized coverage and fullness. Now, are there any questions in the chat?
No questions that I can see.
What are you liking that you're seeing so far?
People are saying, I love Amplify hair. I love the 22-inch.
Yes.
Fantastic. Love how fast that was. System, save yourself time, energy, and money. Very good. Let me see. Application through integrity. Color match. Looks amazing. There's
Fantastic.
a question. How many boxes was that? So it's interesting because on the first model, it's such a different process.
Yeah.
So the partial volume is 1 box. So for those of you, there's a handful of you that receive the Amplify rehearsal kit. The great thing about that is that gives you the opportunity to do a 1-box partial volume application. I want you to look at the re-amplification here. Now, a full volume is 2 boxes, and it's a great question. So within that 15 minutes that you saw Angie do the transformation on Jamie, our first model, that would be $600. Imagine if you could simply just do 1 of those a day, even 2 of those a week. Now, a partial length application is $900. Nicole's getting a full length.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I made a mistake when I said that earlier. She's not getting a full.
She's getting a partial.
Yeah, she's getting
Okay.
a partial length.
Good.
Sorry.
So that would be $900. Now, remember we said that not all dollars are created equal. It's relative to the amount of time that it takes you to do each application. That's why we believe in quick, fast, and easy. Here's what I want you to look at is the return on your investment. This is the great piece. So often, because we keep cuticle on the hair and it performs so well, people will come back for a 3rd reamplification. In that case, your return on investment for that 1 box would be $600 for 2 reapplications or $750 total. That's great. To purchase anything in this industry that's high performing, that's luxury, that allows you to do these transformations for under $100 and generate $600 to $750 is amazing. Now, Jamie got the full volume. So those 2 boxes of hair, the return on investment is $1,100 at the low end up to $1,350. And for the look that Angie's now performing on Nicole, it's 3 boxes. Those 3 boxes will generate a minimum of $1,600 to $1,950. So when you look at that team, this gives you an opportunity to really maximize your investment and leverage your margins. Now, here in a moment, we're going to be doing a check-in with Angie and seeing how the application is going. Here is the great thing about the education process. We approach it completely differently. We're approaching it from the side of the head rather than the back and the nape. Oops, we're going to move some things around here. And let's go to scene 1 again. Right.
She just got caught on the card. So we have filled in just right around her face. So I'm done with those stairways on either side of her head, just like on Jamie. Now all I'm doing is just connecting those stairways. And from that, I will always move up to really maximize that fullness and coverage through the crown ends on 1 and 2. And then I will just go in and really fill in that length to help it blend. All right,
now, the
so
great
keep
thing
going.
about starting from the front is your guest is looking ahead. And as they peek into the mirror, the great thing about this is they get that instant gratification, which is quite often why so many guests end up telling you, you know what, can we add more hair? So, and the answer is always yes, absolutely. However, it's important when, especially with your guests, and in using our process, you're going to be able to convert so many guests who've never even thought about, entertained, or considered the idea of ever wearing hair extensions. Why? Because people don't buy hair extensions, They buy what hair extensions gives them. Again,
Amen.
volume, length, color, shape, etc. So many of your first-time hair extension clients who've never worn hair extensions, you want to start them off a little slow. If you go instantly into doing a full length, they've never worn hair extensions before, it might be a little much for them. You can always add more. I love that look. I love what Angie's doing right here with the board.
It's a trick. Okay. So because it's on the placement board and the hair is laying over where I need to get into it, which is right here in that very first stairway connection, I'm holding it up and I'm just using my tail comb to wiggle in there and just section that hair out so that I can just flip it up and work really easily. It's exposing where I need to be. And then I'm just grabbing those panels.
Very good. Can we go to scene 8? For those of you who did receive your Amplify kit, here's everything that's in the kit. And the great thing about those tools that are in your kit, in addition to that one box of hair, is that kit is going to generate you a minimum of $600 to $750 with one box of hair. However, you get to reuse all of those other tools, the placement board, the coloring, you have a cape. There's a lot of nice goodies in there. And I want to encourage you, if you need support, have questions, need help, whatever, reach out to us, info@amplifyhair.com.
Yes.
And we're happy to circle back and support you. If you have questions about hand-tied, we do have hand-tied as well. It just so happens that hand-tied isn't necessarily the best method for all of your clients. So it does help to have tape and hand-tied, because what we're seeing is some of the most popular trends that are happening right now is clients who are getting hand-tied, and then they're using tape to fill in the sides and the frame. All right?
Me.
That would be Angie. Angie's wearing that. Okay. Let's go cut to scene 1 again, please. All right. So now, Angie, you've done each side.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So I've done each stairway, and I just connected that bottom stairway just by following that same parting around so she can really get in there and cleanse and shampoo her hair. Now all I'm doing is just working up to that second stairway, dropping this section down and applying those in a nice clean row. So going to that same place on my placement board and just taking those panels. So in this row, I'll be able to fit 3 across. Now, something about this is you can always leave gaps in the hair. So you don't always have to, and I get this question a lot, and some of you may be thinking it, is, well, can you cut the panel? And the thing is you don't really want to. You don't want to have to cut the panel. And if you are, you're wasting your time, you're wasting your energy, and you're actually making it harder on yourself. Because when you go to remove and retape these, 1, it's going to take you longer because you have a cut panel. And 2, you're not really maximizing all of the coverage. The name of the game is coverage when it comes to doing length, volume, pop of color, whatever it might be. And the more gaps that you create in the hair, meaning the number of pieces, or if you cut it, you're going to actually create that raked look in the hair. So if you can do more using less while maximizing your coverage, that really is the goal. And so what you're doing is you're really just bricklaying in order to accommodate any gaps in the hair. So you'll see that I'm actually spacing these out. So they're not like connecting right up against each other. There is a little bit of gap, but because everything is in a bricklay pattern, a gap will never be exposed. So that's something that's really brilliant about this placement diagram and the placement board.
So what Angie was talking about with regard to placement diagrams and placement board and everything being systematic is really key.
Yes.
Because quite often when it comes to tape and hair extensions, so many salon professionals can take a very random approach, and
you get it in where you can fit it in.
You get in where you could fit in, right?
Doesn't work.
And what you have right here, this is our education manual, is you have the diagram for every single look, from mini volume up to full volume, up to balayage. And I mean, it's quite possibly one of the most extensive. Look at that look right there. Can you see this? So you get to really just break down all of this. It just makes it quick, fast, easy, and repeatable. There's a lot of business tools and education in here, in addition to all of the technical.
So I just want to show you, I love this. I love this about our application process. So I haven't filled anything in below her ear. And you can see how we're already creating that blanket of coverage. And that's what makes our application process different. You can see how it's already beautifully blending. It's the biggest mistake when you're starting at the nape, because that's really, oh, I just dropped my comb. That's really where you don't create coverage in that zone. You're not adding length in the nape. It's the smallest area on the entire head. And it's crazy because that's not where you actually maximize that. It's in zone 1 and zone 2, which we're doing in this process. I'm going to hang on. Be right back. Okay.
Pop goes
You
the
didn't
weasel.
see that. Okay. So this is what I love. I love that I get to create a blanket of coverage using tape-ins, which is also one of the things that people love about hand-tied. But, you know, tape can definitely do the exact same thing. You can really maximize all that coverage. It's extremely customizable. You can blend different colors together, and it's more lightweight and easy on the hair. So for Nicole, she has really, really fine, very, very fine hair. And so for her, hand-tied isn't necessarily an option, but tape is ideal for her. And that's also something that we cover in our education is who is ideal. Like, why would you pick either method and what's best for the client? Because at the end of the day, that's the question you're always asking is, even though they want it, is it best for them? And should I do this? And so we help you really identify the coulds and the shoulds.
Well, it's approaching the service with integrity.
Yes.
And, you know, knowing when to say no, or maybe not this method, we go with that method. And, you know, with the growing popularity of hand-tied, having tape on hand is great, because quite often after having done a consultation and a proper pool test, you might say to that guest, Nicole, I know you want this look and I'd love to give it to you. You, however, after having done a pool test, this particular method is not good for you. However, we could accomplish the look using a different method. It would be quicker, faster, and less expensive. So having both on hand happens to be really good. A lot of people tend to ask, you cut to scene 3, please. And I want to break this down. We already have established it's the highest earning salon service, right? And we've already established that hair extension clients are going to spend more, return more often, refer more. Here's what I want you to get. The education and support. There's a couple ways that you can get certified. One is live hands-on training. Another one is distance learning. We have a full virtual educational videos and library. There's extensive education manual, both online and an actual printed education manual that covers both technical and business. And then we give you professional sales tools such as, and in addition to that, if we can go to scene 1, just showing somebody's. So we have a tape-in extension care. Your clients are going to retain 10% of everything that they hear. So covering care instructions are important, but however, giving them a care card that allows them to refer back to the instructions, that right there makes it easy on your customer. And then there is the lookbook, where you, after having done the consultation, can simply give this to them and say, choose the look that best illustrates how you want your hair to look, act, and feel. And then once they choose it, you can say, why that one? And then refer to the consultation page, and then you're off and you're doing your application. We'll do a check-in on Angie. All right.
Hey.
Where are we right now as we wrap up?
All right. So we're just wrapping up her length. I'm working down towards her nape. Just working across, making sure that it's still following the 2-finger rule. So making sure that it's off of her hairline, that if she does put her hair up, which she will, that it's not going to show. And more importantly, we're not putting any stress or tension on those vellus or baby hairs. So always application through integrity while also making it look really good. So I just finished this row, and I think, so I want to show you too, as far as the amount of area that you have to work with when you're now adding length. So I'm working down into zone 3 here, and it's so minimal. It's so incredibly small. And this is why we end here. This is why we do this last, is because really by the time you section that 2-finger rule from her nape, which is here, you section out the sides, which is here and here. This is really the tiniest little area that you have to work with to really just fill in all that length. And so that's why we end in this zone. So I'm just going to section and really just add one more row. We're done. So it's just going to be 2 more panels.
Tremendous. So as we wrap up, thank everybody. Want to acknowledge Salon Republic and the tremendous organization that they are and what they've done. Not only what they've done to support salon professionals throughout the country, mainly in California, Texas, but also what they've done to help spearhead the reopening of California so salon professionals can get back to what it is that they love to do and do best. I also want to acknowledge something. What we tend to find is a lot of people tend to dabble with hair extensions. Now, the difference between those who are dabbling versus those who are dominating really comes down to having the tools, the resources, the education, the support, and having the systems. One of the most common conversations I have with so many hairdressers is, oh, you know what? I don't have a lot of hair extension clients, and I'd invite you to consider this. A power plant doesn't have energy. A power plant generates energy. And that same respect, I want you to consider that hair extension clients are typically converted, not recruited. So with that being the case, we would love to support you in converting more clients and creating more transformations. Let's give it up for Nicole.
Oh my gosh.
She said, oh my gosh. Okay.
Oh, I love that because you weren't even looking in the mirror the whole time, right? All right.
I mean,
good.
this is like a real client reaction right here. This is what you get every day behind the chair when you're doing these kind of transformations. It is amazing. So it's instant. It's everything that they've always wanted, and it's actually achievable. So Nicole, you're seeing this for the first time.
Excited.
You love it?
Yes.
Okay. What do you love about it?
I love the length and the fact that I've never had extensions in, like it feels like nothing's in my hair, which I thought I would feel.
Yeah.
Or like heaviness,
Uh-huh.
but no,
That's great.
not at all.
In your consultation earlier, you had mentioned that you have a challenge growing your hair. Has your hair ever been that long, that full and thick?
No.
Well, welcome to amplifying your life, right?
I'm so excited.
Team, on behalf of Amplify, myself and Angie, thank you for tuning in. Remember, you've lived your past. Amplify your future. Bye, everyone.
So cute.